Picture one little boy and one little girl, lost in a very big world, abandoned in a forest of deception, left for dead with no protection. Ambling aimlessly through the trees with aching feet and aching knees until they find where flowers grow and chance upon a bird white as snow. They see its beauty and take the bait. It's not their fault, though this is fate. They follow it blindly through the trees, no aching limbs, they walk with ease. Life is perfect, or so it seems. This is happiness only found in dreams. Now the dark forest shines and gleams. They found heaven, that must be what this means. They are led to a house made of sweets. A beautiful house built from treats. Sugar paper on the walls, gingerbread for a roof. They don't question reality, what they see is truth. Their eyes are blinkered, they see only perfection, and their minds move in a single direction, completely transfixed on that which they see. With no thought of evil, there's no thought to flee. They eat and eat, thinking there's no one around, until from within the house they hear a sound, and following the sound an old woman walks out. Now the children jump back, thinking she'll shout, but she smiles at them, happy they're here, and quickly tells them there's nothing to fear. You look tired, she says, but I have 2 beds. Come inside, little ones, lay down your heads. There's nothing to fear, you're lucky to meet me, for as you sleep, I'll protect you completely. They hear her words and follow her in, and as they lie down, she begins to sing. Sleep, little children, sleep with no fears. Sleep, little children, I'll protect you, my dears. Sleep, little children, close those weary eyes. Sleep, little children, and in the morning rise. And as their eyes close and night begins to fall, the little old lady begins to grow tall. Her eyes turn red, her limbs grow longer, her face goes gaunt, but she grows stronger. Her fingers lengthen, and as they do, they crack. Her legs start to creak, she hunches her back. Her form is knotted like a twisted sin. She has a presence of power, although she's deathly thin. And as the children sleep, she takes the little boy. She lifts him with one hand as though he were a toy. She rips him from the house, throws him in the shed, and as he comes to, his gut is filled with dread. As morning comes, she takes her original form and gently wakes the girl at the crack of dawn. She runs a single finger through the child's hair, who in turn wakes happily without worry or care. But as she wakes, she realizes something is wrong, and then she notices her brother is gone. He must have run, says the witch. In the night he must have fled, and in this dark forest he's most likely dead. The girl is stricken with grief and begins to weep. Her brother is gone and her pain runs deep, and from her pain the old lady begins to feed the girl a flower, the witch a life-sucking weed. Picture one little girl sat on her bed. She sits in silence, nothing's said. Her nails have grown but will not be cut. Her eyes are red and normally shut. She is stuck in this place, caught by grief. Reality's too hard, she chooses sleep. And when she wakes, she cries and cries. There's no one to help, just a lady who lies, who tells her tales of evil creatures with long black hair and hidden features, hiding in the shadows, waiting for children. They will get her as she leaves the building. Slowly but surely the dark days pass, but the girl feels her pain will forever last. She sits on that bed and does nothing else. Head in her hands, she keeps herself to herself. After many days, she feels the desire to move again, and maybe this is not actually the end. She starts to find hope and begins to believe that somewhere, someplace, her brother may still breathe. She stands and leaves a dent where she sat. The lady is asleep, she makes sure of that. She creeps out of the house and into the light. The old woman sleeps through the day and wakes at night. The girl knows this and knows when to return, but she could never know what she is about to learn. She walks around the garden, following the fence, until she hears a sound that makes her stomach tense. The voice of a boy, and not just any boy. As she hears his voice, she is filled with joy. He is calling out, begging to be released, and she is so relieved to find that he is not deceased. She breaks the lock and pushes open the door, but finds children's corpses littering the floor. He is right at the back, chained to a wall on his hands and knees, though he used to stand tall. He is trying to escape, desperately digging, and neither of the children see the witch leave the building. The girl picks her way through the bodies of victims so carelessly scattered towards her brother, close to death, bloody, bruised and battered. She begins to fumble with the chain so he can escape, but a shadow fills the door and she knows she's too late. She turns and sees her worst nightmare, laughing at the poor helpless children in her lair like a spider, watching flies caught in its trap. Her mouth forms a smile as she shuts the door with a snap. Then holding it in place, the children now stuck within, she begins to commit the most heinous sin. The shed is filled with a thick, dark, poisonous cloud, and as her spell takes effect, the witch laughs out loud. As the smoke clears, she enters the shed and slowly picks her way through the bodies of the dead. The children couldn't have survived. They were already weak, but from nowhere jumps the girl with a blood-curdling shriek, and wielding a broken rib taken from the witch's feast, she cuts the devil's throat, returning souls to the deceased. They pour from her neck like liquid shadows, inky black, and the unexpected attack makes the witch stumble back. As the last soul escapes, she crumples to the ground and falls on the dead with the most sickening sound. With their souls returned, her victims at last lie in peace and travel to the land of the dead with ease. Her body disintegrates as they travel through the void, then finally her many spells and house are destroyed. The space where it was is now filled with tall trees, and the children wake to a cool evening breeze. They lie on the dirt, disorientated and confused, their minds and bodies bruised and abused.